Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Wiffle Wednesday live chat episode number 29. I put the camera up. I have light shining on me. I have no hat. I look incredible on camera. I'm just going to put it out there. Game day, what's going on? Welcome in. It's been an interesting 2 weeks of cards, really a month for me because I haven't been as active listing on eBay, buying and selling at shows and things like that, just because of my schedule moving and things like that. But one thing I noticed in the last few days, really, that I was kind of giving it some thought, and I read the post about 2025 Topps Chrome Platinum. There has been in the last couple of months some really good wax opportunities from Topps. If you would talk to the average collector, the average flipper, the average whatever, they would probably tell you that wax has been a struggle for some time, both ripping wax, trying to buy and sell wax, sealed product has been harder and harder, and people are priced out of it. But I would push back against that and say that there's actually been more opportunities in the last 3 to 6 months than I remember, other than just sitting on Topps and being able to buy stuff like Sapphire when it first came out. Other than those times in 2022, this has probably been one of the better buying periods for baseball sealed wax that I can remember. And I have specific examples. First up, we have 2025 Bowman Draft Megas. Those came out 2 weeks after Bowman Draft came out, but we've never had a Bowman Draft retail version. I haven't been able to rip Bowman Draft since 2022 when they did the Bowman Draft light boxes, and the quality control on those was absolute junk. It was one of the worst packed out products in a long time. It's in the top five that I can remember recently. 2021 Topps Chrome Platinum Anniversary was bad. 2022 Topps Chrome Update was bad, but specifically 2022 Bowman Draft was bad. They had numbered parallels that instead of saying blank out of 499, it said bad out of 499. Or there were some cards where the serial numbering was the same across all of them. So that was a mess. But 2025 Bowman Draft Mega Boxes, which were available on Topps for pre-order for a long time, I was able to get a sealed case with no pressure. You could buy them on Dave and Adams, Blowout, Steel City. I think they marked them up $10 a box, so not ideal. However, if you look at those prices now, what you could pull out of them, it was a pretty good opportunity. So Bowman Draft Mega started this kind of, I want to say it was December, January. I think it actually came out in January. So 6 months of time. 2026 Topps Heritage Mega Boxes. Those were a very, very good rip for me. That was probably a little bit of luck, but also Megas versus Hobby. Megas were better. They had more parallels. You could pull just as many autographs, if not more, in a case of Megas versus Hobby. The short prints were easy to pull. The base sets were easy to make. They were printed properly. So 2026 Heritage Megas were good. Just recently, 2026 Bowman Blasters. I've talked about that a lot, both on the channel and on social media. My other social medias, just like the posts and stuff that I've made about what I've ripped and what came out of them. 2026 Bowman Blasters are and still are, and they were when they came out, an immediate buy if I see them in public. I got the max blaster amount I could get off Topps.com, which was 100. And yes, I ran a little hot, but in that same breath, the value was just there and has been there and continues to stay there across the board. I paid $1,200 for my cases, and they're now on Blowout for $2,100. So yes, they're harder to find, but however, I mean, you could still see blasters at Target, at Lids, at Dick's. I know because I just saw them this week. I saw Megas. That's the next argument I'm going to make. 2026 Bowman Megas are good. They're not as good as blasters, but still at retail, if you're looking for something that you can hit something large, have fun while ripping, and also just kind of have a safe floor, all of these products have met those, and it's something I don't remember happening for a while. And I hit the realization when I was looking at the 2025 Topps Chrome Platinum and my personal rip results. Overall, 2025 Topps Chrome Platinum probably tops the list of all of the stuff I just named. Blasters, value boxes, whatever you want to call them, at retail is one of the best I remember in the last 3 years, maybe 4 years. The product has not only yielded good hits, it's yielded a large variety of hits, it's yielded a large quantity of hits, and it was available at retail. It's been across. It's there was how many blasters were made? I want to say it was like 400,000 blasters. Even with that, they're still able to make enough. 440,000 blaster boxes were available to regular guys like you and I. I was able to get the max off tops on release day. People were able to get them pre-sale. Sure, they were harder than it has been in the past sometimes to buy it on tops, but it wasn't impossible. All I had to do was set an alarm for the time that they went live, and I was able to get some. I was able to find them on release day at multiple retail locations. I found them at Dick's. I found them at Lids. I've seen them at Target. They've been all over, and they were one of the easiest, no doubt about it, buys that I've ever seen. And we just haven't had those opportunities recently. And I would say like all of 2025, it was kind of a struggle to buy wax, find any type of value in it. And yeah, I just took note of that while I was thinking about show topics today. And specifically, I wanted to talk more about 2025 Topps Chrome Platinum because I'm prepping for a only Topps Chrome Platinum show on Whatnot for tomorrow night. And one thing that jumped out to me immediately is I ripped I ripped 12 blasters and I already sold off some of the contents, and I'm keeping some cards for PC. And then I ripped another 8 hobby and 20 value boxes, and then I picked up some singles. I have a stack, I just made the post on Instagram, of over 130 serial numbered parallels and autographs. And now people are going to tell you, and I would even say I agree with it to some extent, that there's like parallel exhaustion. We don't need all these serial numbers. And like, I understand where people are coming from, but I think it's okay to have a product like this. Is it the worst thing that you have 1.5 numbered hits in a value box? I don't think so. It's a new like feeling ripping that versus a blaster box of Series 2 in comparison, because I've ripped both in the last like we'll call it week. I think I did it all on last Friday. So yeah, a week. I ripped a case of 2026 Series 2 blasters. I pulled one autograph. I pulled one relic. I pulled 0 case hits. I think I pulled 7 serial numbered cards. And then they have a retail version, a retail parallel that is only in the value boxes, the Sun parallels. And then there are holiday foils that are serial numbered underneath that. I pulled 0 of those. It was not uncommon for me to open a value box, pull my 3 parallels, my 4 non-retail exclusive inserts, and just sit there and go, I don't know if I have a card here that I can actually sell for $1 single. So Series 2 versus Platinum was just leaps and bounds different. And I know flagship, it's printed at a much higher rate. It's not about like ripping and flipping. It's not about big hits. It's about collectability, building the base top set, seeing cards of players that weren't in Series 1. It's a larger checklist overall. So we see a lot of relief pitchers, backup catchers, all things of that nature, and I understand it completely. But ripping Series 1 and then ripping Topps Chrome Platinum on the same day, it was just an incredible difference. And not every Topps Chrome Platinum value box was a winner, but you know what every single value box was? It was fun. Like I enjoyed it. That is a part that a lot of people, I feel like if you talk to or see online, people talking about sports cards, talking about the hobby, they'll say the fun is gone, can't afford anything. It's all about the case hits and nothing else. And I would push back against that harder than I ever have before. There's opportunities to find value in both ripping wax, in singles, in however you want to enjoy this hobby. There is ways to do it. And Topps Chrome Platinum was kind of like a driving force for me for that. And then the other thing I want to talk about is like Topps Chrome Platinum also presents the opportunity to enjoy this set in particular in so many different ways. I did not count the parallels. If I had to guess off the top of my head, I would guess it's 35-ish serial numbered parallels of the entire 500 card checklist. So yeah, that is a lot of cards and parallels of players that probably won't command a ton of value, but you can collect this, you can flip it, you can buy and sell it in so many different ways. If you wanted to try and build a rainbow of a player, it's harder now than it has been because there's more parallels, and the super refractor is always going to be tough to find. There's more red refractors now. And here's a little tidbit. The 2025 Topps Chrome Platinum red prisms, they're not serial numbered and they're value box only. those are one of ones. They're based on the print run and how many are disclosed on the odds. That card, 1 in 7,000 packs, is a one of one. So fun little tidbit there. Thanks to Slab Squatch for pointing that out. I also think 2021 red prisms are one of ones, but that has not been disclosed. In 2023, the red prisms, again, unnumbered, the print run on those was about 5. So I do believe they are one of ones this year, which is pretty incredible. And the gold prisms, which I believe in 2023 were around a print run of 10. This year, it looks like the print run on the gold prisms is about 20. So up a little bit, but still extremely valuable. And cards that if you're a flipper and you're looking in value boxes or just out and about, you can probably stumble across those from people who don't realize how rare they are. And yeah, it's just like a fun little tidbit to this product. But, along those lines of collecting a rainbow, you can also collect a single parallel of your entire team. So if you wanted to collect, let's call it the Royals just for S and Gs, you could do a color match, any blue parallel you want. You do the blue vibrations, blue shimmer, blue mini diamond, true blue refractor, blue prism if you want to go even cheaper. You could mix and match this product all over the map. It's such a good way to do it. And then even another side of this that I think like this entire set is built around like a set and building the set. The master set for this product is completely attainable. A 500 card checklist, which you probably have to rip a lot if you wanted to do it by ripping. But if you wanted to buy bulk lots and then fill in some of the star players along the way, or do trades online, I'm sure this is going to be a popular set that people are building. I think overall, it's a set that you can build attainably, but it's also has some value of difficulty. And then if you want to take it past the 500 card set, if you want to build a master set with the rails and sails, the double headers, and the World Series, that's only 50 inserts, and they're plentifully available. The unnumbered inserts, the lowest print run on those is over 14,000. So there's well over 14,000 master sets available, and you could build it relatively inexpensively, but also enjoyably. It's not open a box, have a set. It's not open 2 boxes and have a set. There would be an actual set build behind it, and the cards to build it are out there and they're cheap. You don't have to go crazy trying to, there's not a single card in the set that's going to run you more than $10. So it's a fun set build, and I think this product just needs to be talked about more, appreciated. It is a home run by Topps, and anyone who tells you differently is just someone who has pessimism in the hobby. And I would invite you to rip a box of your own, force yourself to build a set, collect something from it. There's so many different ways to enjoy it. I think it's an all-timer. 2025 Topps Chrome Platinum is an all-timer. And the same thing I said about the value of the value boxes and hobby boxes. This is a product that if you wanted to rip and flip, you could. So rip it and sell the singles. Rip to enjoy the actual rip, you could do it. If you wanted to buy sealed wax right now, even at secondary prices, I think the opportunity is there. Buy sealed wax and put it on the shelf and hopefully watch that appreciate. I think that's a safe outcome as well. The rarer inserts that are in hobby, the exclusives like the city variations and the 1955 cards that never were, those are a little more rare. They do provide some extra value if you're ripping hobby boxes, but those being actually part of the master set, I mean, that'd be totally up to you. The city variations would be a little bit harder because it's a larger checklist, but that is something that I don't think is going to just like absolutely break the bank. The Otani's probably 200. I did not look it up off the top of my head. Let's take a quick peek. I want to say I have a Nolan Ryan and a Bobby Witt, and I listed those for under 120 for the pair. So I don't think anything too crazy. And those are, in my opinion, some of the better collectible names. Otani City. So the Otani City variation, I was wrong. I always underestimate Otani prices. The last one sold for $480, so I said 200, and it is $480. So if you wanted to do the absolute City variation complete master set, there's 440 copies. I don't think that card will sit at $480, but Otani has proven me wrong before. Yeah, just like I said, just wanted to give 2025 Topps Chrome Platinum its flowers. I just truly enjoyed this set. I think it's a home run, and I will still be looking for it whenever I can. I was actually thinking about making a Lids and Dick's Sporting Goods map like in my area and just doing a day of driving, because I think it's literally that worth it. And then Topps Chrome Platinum would be the breadwinner, but if I saw 2025 Bowman Draft Megas, 2026 Blasters, or 2026 Bowman Megas, I would just buy those up as well because I think they're all at retail and an easy instant buy. And speaking of 2025 Bowman Draft Megas, the reason I'm still talking about those is because I was at a show last Friday, so 5 days ago, 6 days ago, and I still found 2025 Bowman Draft Megas on the shelf at Lids at retail cost. I ended up buying those for my brother. He ripped those because he's such a big fan of the product and he's done very, very well with those. So I texted him when I saw those, like, hey, these are at Lids. Come buy these. Or do you want me to buy these and I'll bring them over because I was going to see him that day anyway. He's like, yes, absolutely. 10 out of 10 times. And that's not to mention that they're on the secondary market. I believe they are $90. Let's see what the last sold on eBay was just for fun. We'll just go with Megabox sealed. Sometimes with the search terms, if I put Megabox, sometimes I'll put Megabox refractors. There's one with 70 with $10 shipping, so still not a bad buy in my opinion. That 70 with $10 shipping is the last sold. A couple lots of them have sold for over $100, so still clearing more than retail, but an easy put on the shelf for a rainy day type product. I think 2025 Bowman Draft, that class has already shown us kind of how deep it is because there's been different players that have already seen spikes, including like second rounders. So it's a fun product to long-term hold or short-term rip and flip. You could do so many different things with it. We're already seeing 2 pictures out of that. They're going to command hobby love and value for a very long time. Seth Hernandez and Kate Anderson are both studs out of there. So yeah, I was thinking about doing like a retail run, and I think it'd be fun to do kind of like a vlog style where I say, hey, like how much retail of these 4 products can I find in one day? And not only would I probably like document some of it, but I'd probably rip some of it at the end. I'd probably save some of it. I would guess that I'd probably save all the Topps Chrome Platinum because I think I mentioned it multiple times. I think that's an all-time set. I think it's a straight arrow up for a very, very long time. You have rookies, current players, current stars, Ohtani, and then you also have the retired players mixed in the checklist and some like fan favorite types like Andy Van Slyke. AJ Pierzynski. I'm just thinking of like random ones that I saw in there. Pete Rose has his first base Topps card in a long time. So there's just so many positives about that set that I just can't get over. And then you're pulling an autograph every 4 blasters. That autograph checklist has over 178 names on it, but it is still, an auto is still better than a base card in most cases. I did pull a Greg Jones auto, and I would argue that I would rather have a base card than a Greg Jones auto. But with that said, I'm running that show on Thursday, and then tonight I'm doing a prospect only show on Whatnot. So those are my next 2 shows, and then hopefully hit up a couple card shows this weekend. And Sunday will be new inventory rotated in with some of the platinum and some prospects still. With Whatnot though, it's an interesting time. It's the middle of June. In addition to like the build up to me moving, my shows in April, we could go all the way back to March, April, and including May, my Whatnot shows were still very strong. A lot of demand, a lot of buying. I did take 2.5 weeks off because I was moving. There wasn't really a way around that. But the trying to get traction back on my Whatnot shows since then has been an uphill climb. Anyone who is interested in buying baseball cards, if you are a buyer and seller, if you're a collector, if you buy baseball cards, you should be watching my shows. Last night, the worst Whatnot show I've ran, I had over 40 viewers, almost the entire show. And I think the first 45 cards went for $1 or $2. Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, autographs, parallels, Connor Griffin, JJ Weatherholt, Kevin McGonigal. Like it was a very, very strong start to that show as far as inventory wise. Didn't matter. I put together, it's already shipped. I already dropped it off at the post office because there weren't that many orders because I just couldn't take it. That show was so tough for me as a seller. I lost hundreds of dollars on that show. I just had to shut it down, kind of cut my losses. But there was a package that I put together. The person bought the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th card, or 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th card in the show. And it was an Aaron Judge, a Jose Altuve, silver pack refractor, serial numbered. I think a Connor Griffin, and then maybe a Bobby Witt Heritage Chrome, Bowman Heritage Chrome, which is a shorter printed parallel. Yeah, $4, $1 each across the board. It was one of those I put together. I was like, well done. You're very, very good on you. It was a new buyer, so that was cool. And actually, overall, I think I did okay on new buyers, which is confusing because the buying pool is still growing. For me in particular, I've been tracking new buyers per show, and my shows are I mean, I'm getting 15, 18, 36, 21 new buyers each show, but the growth overall and the repeat buyers seems to be stagnant or somehow shrinking. Let's see, new buyers. Last time I had 17 new buyers. The show before that, 38. Show before that, 20, 18. And if we go back to last Sunday, the 7th, so 10 days ago, 26 new buyers. So in that time, I mean, that's well over 100 new buyers in just a 10-day period. But I just don't feel like I'm getting much traction. It's very interesting. It is frustrating. I'm definitely not trying to sugarcoat this, but at the same breath, I need to analyze what I'm doing, what I'm buying, and how to fix it. I will say last week I ran a show Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I tried a show on Saturday. I ran Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then tried a show on Saturday. Saturday was the best day for me. It's probably a mix of like new inventory, new buyers, and a new time slot Saturday night. I don't know if that's very competitive, but there's probably more buyers on the app overall. So I did try a new time slot. It went very well in comparison to the other shows. It's still lower than what I was doing the last 3 months. But one thing I did notice is that after having 3 bad shows in a row, it immediately forced me to tighten up my buying. If I was going through value boxes before, if it had the name Roman Anthony, Connor Griffin, JJ Weatherholt, or Kevin McGonigal, I mean, I would still say Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge on that list. If it had their name on the card, I was grabbing it. Yes, there was some discrepancy. You know, I'm not going to pay $5 for a VIP insert. But yeah, J-Back, I had someone bid on nothing last night. I accidentally hit run next and there was nothing on screen. J-Back threw $1 on it. So that was fun. He's getting what did I send you? I feel like I sent you a first pitch card. I forget who it was. So you do have a card coming. But I had to print the label and for whatnot, I can scan it myself to show that it's shipped. I really did ship it, so that should show up to you in a few days. But what I was talking about is like value box digging. So if I was in a $1 or $2 box, any of those players I would just grab automatically, wouldn't even think twice about it. But now I am being more selective because I have to be. I have to find amazing eye appeal cards. I have to find extreme liquid players. So I would say that my buying list of players that I want to buy of current MLBers is down to like 20 players. And then I still have my foot in the prospect pool a little bit. It's been very helpful following Big Bob's prospect analytics because he is pretty active in keeping track of how players' values are moving and also their performance on the field and whether he thinks it's sustainable, not sustainable, buying opportunity, not buying opportunity. So I am still tracking a lot of those players and I am buying those cards. But overall, my buying has tightened up very, very significantly. And I will say, I had a great buying show last Friday. I did not spend a lot of money, but I was very, very selective most of the day. And then I found one seller who had really good value boxes. He had a $1, a $3, and a $5 box. And I was able to go through those and we worked out a pretty large deal. Andy's a local guy, so it was cool to connect with him. Yeah, 60 is a really strong number. The only pushback I will say to that is I've had really good shows with less than that. If there are 2 people willing to, I don't know how to say like buy everything because that's not what they're doing, but they're just willing to bid $1 or $2 on a lot of cards. So if I have 2 people raising that floor to $2 or $3, it's a very, very safe like room to run. I thought the strategy of using sudden death was also like kind of keeping my floor up because I know people come in and they see like if I'm running sudden death, they will stay a little bit longer. However, it also creates more buying opportunities and shots to get in on me, which is happening at a pretty high level. And what's weird is it's not every card, it's not all shows, but it's players that I would expect in all circumstances to do well, not doing well. 2019 Topps Chrome Shohei Ohtani Rookie Cup. That is as predictable as a card as you can get. And it went for $10. It is regularly a $30 card. A refractor went for 107. I mean, this is an auction yesterday. It went for 32. That one went for 34. An X-Fractor went for 225. Another refractor for 132. A PSA 9 goes for 100. And in my opinion, the copies that I have are all PSA 9 or better. So it is weird that card specifically underperforms. When I had plenty of people in the room, there were 40 plus people in the room, and you would think, even if you're not a like hardcore Angels collector, Ohtani flipper, a buyer, a reseller, that would just be a cool card to have in your collection. Not for everyone. That's okay. I'm trying to look at it from a perspective of how can I be a better seller and what can I do to fix it. And it just comes down to better buying, continue to have good energy, good flow, and keep growing. With 100 new buyers in the last week or last 10 days, despite having bad shows, that's a pretty good number. I'm doing that without giveaways. I'm doing that with just consistent shows. So I am going to try and push a few giveaways this week. I'm going to try some for tonight and some for Thursday. I'm still a believer that giveaways are not the end-all be-all, and they're still watered down on the app in general. So my goal is to have better giveaways over the next 2 days. See if that'll help me retain a little bit of audience, maybe gain some more followers, a couple more bids. We'll see. Tonight, I have very, very, very low expectations. Prospects in general on the Whatnot app have done terrible for me. But I did notice when I was going through my inventory before the Saturday show and then before the Tuesday show that some teams, a majority of the cards are prospects. So I think I could just run a high volume of cards tonight, and whatever happens, happens. And then Thursday, I'm going to grab the cards just because I think it's cool. I am very excited for the Thursday show. It's only going to be Topps Chrome Platinum. I was picking up lots on eBay, and some of the lots had some like really good players in it. But this is not even all of it. This is probably about 90 cards of Topps Chrome Platinum. This is all serial numbered or autographed, and then I have another 40 or 60 back there. I think the total was 137 when I counted. So I think this type of show, True Gold Refractor of Austin Riley. There's a True Gold. There's an O'Neill Cruz Gold, Frank Thomas, Paul Molitor, Robin Yount, Cade Horton Rookie, Paul Skeens, number 200. I think there will be, a decent amount of players. Bryce Harper to 150, Ben Rice Rookie, Carlos Rodon to 55. I think there will be a decent amount of players, value, and the ability to fulfill requests. So I'm going to have a lot of team requests. And I think between the serial numbered stuff, I'll include some of the prism refractors, some of the base, and then a lot of the inserts. I think I'll be able to keep a pretty good flow. And I'm thinking normally if a show's not going well, I will pull the plug or put a cap on and be like, hey, I'm just going to call it at 150 cards. I'm thinking tomorrow I might just try and sell every single Topps Chrome Platinum card I have set aside. So it'll probably be 320-ish cards if I had to guess, with 137 of those being numbered or autographed. I think I'll be able to keep attention for a while and just see if that show, and if there's a certain number, because I did notice it on Saturday. I ran a few more cards. The entire lead up, the first 60 cards was tough. And then all of a sudden I saw a spike for about 40 cards and then came back down. So I'm curious if I give myself the opportunity to be live longer on Thursday with some interesting giveaways, with good inventory of good players, a lot of volume, if I can get that opportunity to push my sales higher, both in quantity and overall value, because I have been struggling so much with that. And it's hard to know when to stop or to continue. Last night, after about 45 cards, I was I don't know if scared is the right word, but like it was not fun. So I did not know what to do. If I should keep trying to find that threshold where people start bidding a little bit more, or if there's a certain number of buyers, a certain number of cards where I see an increase. Normally, I feel like the 20 card mark is where that starts to happen, or it was in the past. So I use that as a guide most of the time. 20 cards, I'll start taking more requests. I'll start running slightly bigger cards. I'll try and build momentum on my own right versus trying to wait for it to happen. But last night I tried to work in a couple more valuable cards, tried to just stick to liquid players, and nothing was like sparking. It just kind of stayed stagnant all night. The most interesting sale I had last night was Hayden Birdsong. I had two Hayden Birdsong cards that kind of had a little bit of a bidding war, which was interesting, random, but it is something that, like, that is unpredictable. That is the whole point of live selling. Knowing a Hayden Birdsong, or knowing that a Tuesday night show with 40 viewers almost the entire time would be so weak, it's hard to predict. It's hard to keep up with. It's this ebb and flow of live selling, because in April and May and again March, I was enjoying it. I was doing very well. The opportunity was there. So ebbs and flows are real. My goal is to keep bringing value, keep showing up to the buyers that are in front of me, whether there's 10, whether there's 20, or whether there's 100, and just keep trying to show up with good cards of good players. I think people will continue to find me. It's I wouldn't say it's like treading water, but probably the summer slowdown, getting through this portion where there is not a ton of interest on certain teams and players. We don't have definitive trade market yet. We don't have definitive all-stars elected yet. And we don't have buyers and sellers at the deadline. I think if the White Sox or some team like that, or even the Diamondbacks, suddenly showed off that they were buyers and made a big move for a big piece, that entire market of buyers potentially is more interested. If the White Sox start making moves, or if they suddenly made a huge push for Joe Ryan, I think in general more people would be interested in the White Sox, and it would have some value. And that's true, J-Back. That's something I haven't really considered. I know that the AL like MVP race is Jordan Alvarez, Nick Kurtz, and Bobby Witt, and I don't feel like any of them have had a year that is MVP status. They're all having pretty good years, but definitely not MVP status. Judge is out. Jose Ramirez is out. Ohtani has been pitching, but his hitting is not what it's normally been. Harper's not having a normal year. I'm trying to think of players that are like at the top tier. Jordan is a lock, but if I was putting my own money on it, I would pick Nick Kurtz. I think he's going to have to do a lot to win, but I think he can do a lot. And his last 162 games from when he was called up, exactly. Jordan's a health risk. Nick Kurtz has been very good, and I also do think that at some point Nick Kurtz will win an MVP. I don't think it's happening this year, but if I had to pick someone of those three, I would say Nick Kurtz. It sucks, man. Does it suck that Jose Ramirez finally had a non-Aaron Judge year, and he breaks his handmade bone. So he's going to miss 5 weeks. Ellie De La Cruz is out. I don't think he was at MVP status, but could have been. Kurtz had a really slow start. James Wood looks really good. It'd be interesting if he won one. I think it'd be good for the 2025 rookie class. Him and Kurtz both look good. J-Ram was having a very slow start. He was running a ton. He was leading the league in stolen bases, but he was not. His batting average was down. His power total was down, so he was just struggling overall. I do think the Guardians. So the Guardians had 3 players break a bone on Saturday in the same game, and they made the most uninspiring moves that I've ever seen. So as someone who fully thought the Guardians were going to run away with it, again, if I was making a bet, I don't really bet on sports that often. I would put the White Sox as the favorite in the AL Central right now. That is my honest opinion. That is, I don't think it's a hot take. I said this in spring. I said it during a live show one time that the White Sox could 100% win the AL Central with what they've done and how weak I think that division is. I do wonder in the next, let's call it a month, if the Tigers have any type of push and the Guardians fall, if they'll hold on to Skubal. I still think it would be a massive mistake if they did, just because I think the haul that they could get would be like, it could be a franchise altering haul. I could be off base. Maybe I'm overvaluing him, but I think Tarek Skubal is a guy that makes you an immediate like threat in the playoffs. If you have a guy like Skubal, who can win 2 games in a 4-game series or in a 7-game series, or pitch potentially twice in a 5-game series, I have a hard time thinking that someone who's on the verge of making the playoffs, or someone who is definitely in and has question marks of their roster doesn't make a push for him. But I know the Yankees have a strong staff, Dodgers have a strong staff, Mariners have a strong staff. I don't think the Athletics would do it, but I mean, maybe. Uh, yeah, Guardians are playing for next year, but it would be, man, I know that they won't do it. I know there's no world where even the Tigers would trade him to the Guardians, but the Guardians have the pieces to do it right now. And having Gavin Williams and Tarek Skubal as a 1-2 sounds incredible to me. We could send a ready-made starter to the Tigers in trade plus 2 prospects. It would happen, but man. I'm curious where he'll go. I think that the Dodgers are going to be in play, which sucks because I don't need to see the Dodgers get another all-star pitcher. No one needs to see that. The Braves would be really interesting because I think their offense is lined up to make a deep run. The Reds would be really interesting, although I doubt Scuba would want to pitch there. I don't think the Yankees make a move. The Mets are nowhere near contention. Maybe the Phillies. The Phillies need to make a push to try and compete with the Braves. Yeah, the Mariners and their alternating piggyback rotation will be interesting. If I was a starter, I would understand why they wanted to do that. It sounds like everyone agreed upon that, but man, that is such a weird situation for them to be in because they do have really good starting pitching. It's not like they are just throwing a Slate Ciccone in there to mix it up. They have pitchers who have been very good both in the past and who have been very good so far this season. Bryce Miller seems to be taking a step forward. Emerson Hancock has pitched better than I thought he would. He's come back down to earth, but he deserves his rotation spot just as much as anyone else in that rotation. So it's interesting. Well, I mean, I like the Mariners. I've always liked the Mariners. I'm curious to see how that works and if it actually helps them going into the playoffs because they're all rested this much more compared to the Guardians, who I think, at least up until a couple of days ago, they've had the same starting 5 all season. They have not ventured off the starting 5, and I think they're the only team in baseball the same starting 5 all season. So that's so random. It's cool. It's a little scary, but it is pretty cool. Guys, it has been 37 minutes. The 30-minute goal is always part of my plan. So we made it another episode of the Wiffle live chat. I'll be back next Wednesday, hopefully with better whatnot results. I think this Wednesday-Thursday show could be a good combo. And then if I can do any good buying this weekend, I might just try another Saturday night show. That worked well for me, so I'd love to do that again. But yeah, next week I'll talk all about it again. More business, more cards, more sports. Appreciate you guys being here. Go Guardians.